Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sing it with me. Come on, come on, come on. SBE, SBE. I've been in the manosphere for a long, long time, but nobody watches me. SBE, SBE. My content's are born, my pussy is sore, so I created SBE. Sit right back, let me tell you a tale about a group of weak men going straight to hell. I'm talking about them PhDs, make the ghost of Booker T go weak at the knees. And you all know who I hate the best. It goes by the name of BGS. They're making me sick, it's plain to see. Now come on everybody, won't you sing with me? SBE, SBE. I've been in the manosphere for a long, long time, but nobody watches me. SBE, SBE. My content's are born, my pussy is sore, so I created SBE.
The content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you.
Yo, what's happening, man? What's cracking? It's popping, man. It's Friday, man. June 30th, man. 5:33 p.m., man. It's cracking with y'all, man. You know who I am, man. I'm Gigi. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers, man. Shout out to all the haters out there. I know y'all lurking, man. That's what y'all do. Shout out to y'all, man. Hit the like button if you can, the subscribe button, and the bell notification button so you can stay on top of what's going on here on the Green Gorilla channel. Also, as I always do, man, as a point of preliminary procedures, man, I'd like to give a shout out to all of the members of the Green Gorilla channel, those people who support me and help me to keep this thing going, man. Both fiduciary and supportive in terms of, psychological and moral support. So shout out to Bimrock, man, Brotherly Love 215, Damian H, Passport OG, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Rashid Barnes, Blacksword 404, DF, Rais Moajid, and Ben Cannon Kenton. Big up to y'all, man. Big up to Sherlin Woe, Leon, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Artisan MC, Dub Will, Mr. Good Dad, Dar, Third Coast X, Roderick Jackson, Michael Ross, and 63rd Samurai. Big up. Big up to Devon Loveridge, Ishmael Samad, The Watcher, Hostile Adept, The Ruthless, Heart Cold Revelator, Kill the Game, BGS Ibmore, Dr. Thunder, Jason Hales, Charles Finney, and Interesting Thought. Big up. Big up to It's Always Jermaine, Naomi Gary, J. Cleveland Green, The Toxic Masculinist, Pulpit 28, Broken Blade, Larry R, Seth Sun 7, Afro Troop TV, Show Me in Spain Man. Big up. Big up to Seventh Coast Dojo, Anthony Davis, I'm Just Jules, and Honest Look, Ricky Dawson, Stefan, True 7360, Call for President, Mr. Me Too, and the Gold Professor. Big up. Big up to AKs and Curtains, H-Town, Roguish the Billmonger, Adrian Thomas, Electrician 480, Binga, Cutting Up with the Jones, Zanco 1, D. Scott, Path Guy 74, and Pete Rock 496. Big up. Big up to Aaron Peters, Vince Lindsay, Quiz the Poet, Black Wizard 80OS, Jazz Tech, Shadow Observer, Troy Warren, Mrs. KP Bailey, Alan Wiley, The Face and Life of Commerce. Big up. Big up to AI Apostle, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, Marvin Battle Jr., Adam, Ignatz Mouse, Brian McMurray, Dr. Tree 33, 77 Base X, and K-Ron S. Big up. Big up to Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, Sandra Jean, Charles Gilmore, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, Cameron 87, Doc LaRock, and Mark Swift. Big up. Big up to Odd Collar, Donald Watts, Coach Hotep, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178, Aaron Smith, DH, and A Double. Big up, man. Can't forget the brethren in the ethereal plane, David Carroll, Forrest Windu, and Kevin Samuels. Big up. Also on the Patreon side, I'd like to shout out Robert Wicks, Shine Language, Chris Flowers, Christopher Burton, Daxby the Tetrahedron, J Live, Rashawn Phillips Searles, Keith Bass, Nick Albert C, Dr. Ben Vincent, J. Cleveland Green, I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Darnell Smith, Excalibur, Preserve Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, J. Bailey, Mr. Michi Momal, and Asangwa. Big up to all of y'all, man. Thank you so much for supporting the Green Gorilla channel. Y'all deserve a round of applause. I really appreciate your support. And if you're inquiring on how you can also support the Green Gorilla channel, and you should, here's how you do it. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, we back, man. I'm GG. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers, man. And, it's a Friday. And, it's the last day of the cycle for YouTube, man, as we move into the next one. But shout out to all of the people out there in the chat. David Price, I see you. Vector 313, I see you. Chukwe Igwe, I see you. Paul Wilson, I see you. Memphis Rusty, I see you. He says, who is SB? Who is SBE? He just don't know, do we? Trouble Man, shout out to him. Chief Rocka, the Only One John, Waffle Weave, Black Seminole, A Sower of Seed, Mwalimu Ra X, shout out to him. He says, the entry fee, man. Let me give that man a little quick shout, man. Electrician 480, I see you. The Toxic Masculinist, I see you. King Kenta, I see you. Zan, I see you. P. Wells, I see you. So, look. Death Before Dishonor, I see you. I see you out there, man. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, man. Appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that. So, today is not a very, difficult conversation. It's just a conversation in general trying to understand the phenomena. And the phenomena is, basically the primary beneficiaries of a governmental policy doing the best that they can to derail the policy. And then you have to ask the question, like, what would be the motivation to do some shit like that? Like, I just don't understand it myself. But I do understand it. Quite frankly, I do get it. But why would a group of women who, clearly have been able to, benefit from a policy that was initially designed to deal with the subject matter of racism, why would they seek to derail, this policy? And so I have several articles, man. I'm gonna just start off. Well, I got really, actually, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 articles, and thank you. Shout out to Sauchi, man. He's the one that basically he's the one that basically came up with all this shit, man. He did the research on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just reporting it. So let's just jump right into it, man. I'm gonna share the tab. I'm gonna share the tab. Present. Share the screen. And yeah, here we go, man. Make it as large as I possibly can. White women benefit most from affirmative action, so why did they oppose it? So we're gonna go through some of these articles. We might read most of them. But the question is, like, it's like cutting your nose off to spite your face. Why would you derail something that clearly has worked to your benefit for the greater part of 60 years? So anyway, people often associate affirmative action with efforts to end discrimination for people of color. But scholars say the greatest beneficiaries of the policy of affirmative action has been, ta-da, white women. I mean, and this is the case from college campuses to the American workplace. So the influx of white women, and look everywhere, like wherever you go, whether it's at a university, whether it's at a place of business, whether it is a government building, look and see how many white motherfuckers you see there, and particularly white women. Shout out to Red Falls. He said, Red Falls Black. Shout out to him. He says, oh, I've been waiting for this. Let's go. Shout out to him. Let me keep his name up there for a little longer. White women today are more educated and make up a bigger slice of the workforce as a result of decades of affirmative action policies, scholars say. White women have also made inroads into corporate leadership that people of color and women of color have not. No, duh. Duh. The Supreme Court on Thursday struck down affirmative action admission policies used by Harvard and the University of North Carolina to build diversity on their campuses. They like, fuck y'all diversity. They saying, fuck diversity. We don't give a fuck about your diversity. Anyway, legal observers say that decision will have huge consequences for higher education and could have significant ripple effects for corporate diversity programs. Oh, yeah. Yes. It's going to have an impact. You can best believe that shit. Okay? You can best believe that. So what is affirmative action? It refers to efforts to curb discrimination in education, employment, and government contracting. Now, look, you have to ask the question. Okay? Well, white women kept out of fucking education for real, man. White women. To the same extent as black people. We already know affirmative action was really actually dedicated to dealing with issues related to black folks. But there's a different kind of spiel put forth here. But anyway, let's look at it. Anyway, affirmative action was first used in the 1935 Wagner Act, a federal law that gave workers the right to start and join unions. John F. Kennedy was the first president to use the term to mean advancing racial equality. Okay? The term was originally meant to convey that the government should act affirmatively to end race and gender discrimination, but all this gender, man, come on, cut the fucking bullshit rhetoric about gender discrimination, bro. Y'all need to cut that shit out. They need to stop doing this, man. They need to stop doing that. But anyway, critics have equated affirmative action with racial quotas and preferences that they say give unfair advantages to people of color and discriminate against white people. Now, this is the fucked up thing. So it doesn't matter who's actually benefiting from the policy, because see, white women already benefit from white society in general. In fact, they have to benefit from it because they basically are the people who fucking reproduce it. Hey, man, if you got a troll, hey, Just Misty, man, look, I'm not here for the fuckery with your trolling. This shit ain't about you. You're going to make the shit about yourself, okay? You're going to make it all about black women and all this kind of bullshit. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you here right now, before you even fucking start with all this motherfucking, what about me and me too and black women this and we need protection and all that bullshit. Look, at the end of the day, here's my viewpoint on this shit. Black women, to the extent that they are able to follow behind the coattails of white women and hitch their wagon to the whole issue surrounding gender discrimination, have been able to benefit from fucking affirmative action and diversity and inclusion policies way more so than black men. Now, if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck if you do or don't. And the reason I'm yelling right now is because you're using all caps in my chat, which means that you yelling metaphorically. So I'm yelling literally. Black women everybody got separate issues. Who the fuck don't got separate issues? Everybody on the fucking planet has separate fucking issues. Man, time that motherfucker out, man. I ain't trying to look at that shit, man, as I continuously go through this process. Everybody on the planet, as they are individuated in existence, have unique problems unique to them. There's no one on the fucking planet who does not have issues and problems unique to themselves. Everybody does, man. Because we all experience the world differently. Now, we can begin to look at collectives and demographics and to try to ascertain what's going on with different demographics, but I'm not playing this intersectional bullshit game. I'm not about to do that, man. I'm not about to play this intersectional game and this intersectional calculus where you take up and you tabulate identity categories and shit, and then you argue, well, because I belong in the more categories, I'm more oppressed. Fuck that shit. It doesn't work in reality, man. That's why theory, ethical, political, whatever kind of theory you're doing needs to be tempered by fucking empirical research and scientific falsifiability. And if that's not done, then what you get is you got a whole bunch of motherfucking moralizing and crying and fucking begging for attention and recognition, and you don't do anything to change the fucking material conditions of reality itself. And I'm fucking tired of it, man. But the whole point is, white women have always been included in the white social body. They have to be included in the white social body because they are the reproducers of white bodies in fucking general. reproduce the so-called patriarchy and white society. They fucking give birth to it between their fucking legs. So how have white women benefited from affirmative action? Discussions about affirmative action tend to focus on race. But stats show that it has been an equalizer for white women in education and in the workplace. We already know this shit, bro. If anything is about to be doled out or allocated to any group of motherfuckers, they're gonna make sure that they're taking care of their own fucking demographic first. Man, all these trolls got to go. I'm banning all you motherfuckers. Don't come to my fucking goddamn shit with them loud ass caps. All y'all getting y'all heads cut off. Anybody that use caps, cut them the fuck off, man. Anybody, cut they fucking heads off. Get rid of them bitches. As soon as they start with that bullshit, get rid of them. I don't know what the fuck y'all think y'all stumbled in on, but I run this motherfucker. I'm the bully in this goddamn pulpit. I'm fucking King Kong in this bitch. I don't know what the fuck y'all think y'all stumbled in this motherfucker. That's for damn sure. Anyway, a Labor Department report in 1995 found that since the 1960s, affirmative action helped 5 million members of minority groups and 6 million women move up in the workplace. When we talk about institutions like higher education, we see that women in general are on par with men. But we have severe underrepresentation of Black, Indigenous, and Latinx folks in colleges and universities, and even greater disparities for women of color. Now look, there goes that bullshit language again. Here we go with this fucking language about Black women being underrepresented and women of color being underrepresented in universities and shit. Now, in relation to white women, they're going to be underrepresented. But when you talk about the demographic that's most underrepresented, we can't even fucking talk about it. I went to Xavier University in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1989. That was my first year there. The fucking ratio of Black men to girls at that fucking school, Black boys or Black fucking males to Black women was 8 to goddamn 1. 8 to 1, man. It was an 8 to 1 ratio. Anyway, Texas A&M sociologist and lawyer Wendy Leo Moore told the USA Today, you can make the same analysis when we look at employment. Those are the kind of things that indicate that on a structural level that white women have benefited. No kidding. But then the question is if they're benefiting from these fucking policies, why are they seeking to undermine the policies? Why are they seeking to destroy the things that they benefit from the most? What does the data show? In the past 6 decades, women have leapfrogged men in earning 4-year degrees. They've leapfrogged men in the past 6 decades, while Black and Latino students are still underrepresented in college admissions and graduate rates, especially in 4-year colleges. A similar trend has been seen in the workplace. According to USA Today, analysis of named executives at the nation's 100 largest companies. From 2020 to 22, white women expanded their share of senior leadership jobs at twice the rate of women of color, though women remain outnumbered 4 to 1. Despite marginal gains among men of color, white men still hold about 2/3 of the top jobs. No shit. You think they're going to give up their shit, even though they account for just 1/3 of U.S. workers? So why do white women oppose affirmative action? Shout out to BGS. He said, pass PhD tax, folks. Pay your taxes. And then you got a lot of trolls in here. Cut they fucking heads off. Get rid of their asses. As soon as you see them on some bullshit, Burn it off. This ain't a woman's channel. This ain't a channel for ladies. So if white women benefit from affirmative action, why do they oppose it? Anyway, half of Americans do not approve of colleges and universities considering race in admissions. They didn't want fucking race to actually be considered in the fucking Civil Rights Act. That's why they fucking did everything they could to undermine it. Why do you think you got white women all over every goddamn place right now? Why do you think that's the case? It's the case because basically sex was introduced into the Civil Rights Act at the 11th hour. Because white women, God forbid that somebody jump in line ahead of they motherfucking asses. God forbid somebody be able to jump in front of white women in the line. And all of the fucking values, the norms, and the axiology that we have today related to sex, because there's a lot of sex and gender politics going on in American culture today. All of that shit is primarily responsible because it's all due to sex being introduced into the Civil Rights Act. And I said this shit before. I'm gonna show the fucking the slides again, man. I'm gonna show the slides again. Let me see if I can make myself bigger, a little bigger than this, man. Now, you might not be able to see the sum totality of all these pictures here, okay? But white women are some fucking haters. Historically, they've been known to be some fucking haters, race haters. It's what they do. They don't want their schools integrated. During the fucking civil rights era, they didn't want their schools integrated. They didn't want busing. They didn't want their children to be bused. Because they didn't want to mingle with the niggers. They didn't want black girls attending schools with their little white girls. They were members of the fucking Klan. Like they are members of the fucking Klan, man. They are present at lynchings where people are fucking being murdered. And they will hang black women just like they'll hang black men. They will hang your motherfucking asses too. Black women got some special issues. They will fucking relegate your ass to some nigga shit just like they'll do us. But now everything is about, we got our own issue. We special. We got our own issues. This is what they was on. Now all of a sudden everybody act like it's something fucking different going on. I don't understand what and quite frankly, black women, they purport that they're the most fucking educated. If you are the most educated, why don't you see what the fuck is happening politically? Why are you so fucking naive? Why? Why don't you understand that this shit is still in effect? These motherfuckers was members of the Klan. Do it look like they weren't able to move around the cabin to you? Oh, we're so oppressed. We know we're women and we're oppressed. Now everybody's following along with this shit. Them motherfuckers will work. They'll kill you and fucking rejoice in murder. Now all of a sudden it's a sisterhood amongst all women and shit. I don't get it, man. I just don't fucking understand it. If you look at the history, now everything in 60 years, the entire fucking history of colonialism, which was genocide, and slavery, which lasted for fucking centuries. It's just all supposed to be forgotten. And Jim Crow, which itself lasted for at least about a fucking century, is just all supposed to be fucking forgotten now. Oh, forget about it now. Let's talk about intersectional identities in various groups and how they're interlocking forms of oppression. Man, fuck that shit. These chicks here, man, had motherfucking, we're not anti-Negro, we just anti-race mixing. Now, look, I ain't trying to hate on individual white people because some of them cool or whatever the case may be. But if you look at the history of this shit, man, it's fucked up, it's foul. States' rights. Now you got niggas talking about states' rights and shit. Oh, well, you know, I live in Mississippi. Oh, I live in Alabama. Give a fuck what your states' rights, man. States' rights. This is the history of these men. They got little babies and shit with fucking hoods on. Now all of a sudden, it's about like all women uniting and shit. You know, we're so oppressed. They'll hang women ass from a fucking tree too, just like they'll hang a man. Although, you know, they hung men more than they did women. But they will lynch women too. Because at the end of the day, think about it. I want you to think clearly about this shit. They're the ones that reproduce the patriarchy that they say they fucking hate so goddamn much. They're the ones that reproduce it. It comes out of their vaginas. The patriarchy does. And they're the ones who have the most influence over children in the earliest parts of their development. So they're the ones that feed to their fucking babies, whether they male or female, the dispositions to have and how to preserve their culture and their political society. It's just what the fuck it is. I'm supposed to lie about it, though. I'm supposed to like tiptoe walk around. Well, we gotta protect you. We gotta protect the women's and all this shit. All this language was basically a racial rules is what this shit is. And we supposed to be educated and so goddamn smart, and we going along right along with the bullshit they on. And all they doing is benefiting themselves. If we say something about it, I'm gonna report you to white people. I'm gonna tell on you. I'm gonna report you. So we can get hung from a tree or some shit? Come on, man. Stop the bullshit. You can't be the motherfucking most educated, but the most goddamn naive and politically fucking stupid. It don't work. That shit does not work, man. Let me do some housekeeping real quick, man. That shit gets me, I get heated when I hear this shit, man. Because everybody wants to center their goddamn selves. And all this centering shit, this recognition, I want to be seen, all this shit is some white bitch shit. That's what the source of it is. Oh, look at me. I want me. I just want me. You got to pay attention to my issue. That's the same shit these white bitches was on. Oh, pay attention to me and my issues and me and my me. And they already was eating good and getting motherfuckers killed and owning slaves, had black women breastfeeding they motherfucking babies and shit. And now all of a sudden everybody got a bone to pick with men. Because of the patriarch, some shit some white bitches created. I just don't understand us, man. I don't get us as a group, bro. I don't. Especially educated women, man. I don't fucking understand it, bro. I don't get it, man. But anyway, shout out to Insane Optimist, man. Appreciate that generous donation, bro. Appreciate that. This is a man's channel, man. It ain't a woman's channel, man. Just to let y'all know. We talk, I will respect women if they respect me. You come in my shit, set tripping on some bullshit, I will fucking go off on you just like I'll go off on a nigga. Mississippi Delta guy, man, shout out to you, sir. Appreciate that. I'm not fucking Umar Johnson, man. I'm not Umar. Man's World TV Group, shout out to you, man. Charles Finney, man, shout out to you, man. Said he was experiencing this at work, spot on as usual. Shout out to the Mississippi Delta guy again, man. Already, shouted out BGS and Electrician 480. He said he got his popcorn ready for this one, for sure. Damn right. And I'm just making sure I cover everybody, man, and nobody's left out. Death Before Dishonor, Red Falls Black, Walimu Ra X. And also now, shout out to Jay Shabazz. Appreciate the donation, sir. And Ebo Sosa, man, says, thank you, GG, for dissecting this topic. I got hip to this earlier today and been scratching my head all day as to what the fuck this is for. You broke it down and now I understand. Salute to you. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you, man. But look, I've been showing this clip. I'm gonna show this clip again. This is the reason white women are not dumb, man. They know exactly what the fuck they doing and how they doing it and why they doing it. They're not dumb at all, man. These people, first and foremost, they have fidelity to their fucking racial group, man. They have fidelity to their racial group. So while we talking about B1 and all this kind of shit, they actually doing some W1 shit. Real talk. They on some W1 shit. They've been on some W1 shit. They are the authors and the initiators and instantiators of W1 shit. These people are not dumb, man. I'm gonna play back the video. They already knew. And white women were like, how dare you allow those Negroes to have more than your mothers, your sisters, and your daughters, and your aunties, and your nieces. That's at the seat of all of this. How dare you let these black women or anybody be equal to us and have more than us, influence and resources and access than us. Look at it for your goddamn self.
Most important changes that have taken place in respect to the status of women since you've been in Congress.
Well, I think perhaps most important was the one that added sex to the bill of 1964. This bill was drafted really to help Negroes. Now, it wasn't clear. It would have meant that Negro women would have been given rights that were not available to white women. Therefore, we added sex. It is my belief that the drafters had assumed that no women would get any rights. So that I think both white and black women were helped by the bill.
Now, if white women and black women were somehow, on account of them being women and sex being introduced into the bill, were actually helped out by the bill, and diversity and inclusion has been an aim, supposedly, that's the kind of language that they utilize, diversity and inclusion and all this shit was inside of the bill, which was initially actually intended to be designed to deal with the issues related to race. There is a history of genocide in America and colonialism and slavery that lasted for centuries, that gave white people, male and female, a leg up. So when affirmative action was white, it took place by means of slavery and Jim Crow and a whole bunch of other shit. Now all of a sudden, it's time to repair these issues, but guess what happens? The first thing they do is they want to start talking about sex now. Oh, we ain't talking about women and how women have historically been kept out. And I'm not saying that women don't have issues that they have to deal with related to being women. I'm not even saying that shit. But every time we start talking about these kind of issues, race is left off the table, and then everybody starts talking about individual identity-based politics or intersectional politics. I'm fucking tired of that shit. Starting to make me sick in my goddamn stomach. I swear to God, man. Anyway, so nobody wants to allow for diversity related to race at these damn universities, but I guess related to sex, it's okay though, huh? Anyway, adults disapprove, a majority of adults, white adults, disapprove of it. About 70% of non-Hispanic white women somewhat or strongly oppose affirmative action. Now, these are the biggest beneficiaries of this shit, but they oppose it though. They got an issue with the shit. So white women have also challenged affirmative action policies. In 2016, the Supreme Court ruled against Abigail Fisher, a white student who said the University of Texas denied her admission because of race. Moore says the opposition is the result of long-running anti-affirmative action campaigns from conservative groups that attack race-based affirmative action, but not gender-based affirmative action. Pay attention. Pay attention. They don't have a problem or an issue with sex-based affirmative action, and the reason is because they threw sex into the mix to obfuscate and to derail and to fuck up the race-based affirmative action and the civil rights policy to fucking begin with. All I'm trying to get you to see is, and you don't want to see it, because you've been born into a society which basically tells you at every turn that women are they're like disenfranchised, that they don't have any investment in the system, that they're oppressed and that they can't do X or Y or Z. But it's a false equivalency to equate the horrors of racism and slavery and Jim Crow and to equate that with sexism. The two are falsely equivalent. You can't put them together. You can't combine them. I don't know why people refuse to see the truth in that. Well, white women brought to the United States and forced to toil from sea to can't see on the account that they were women. Were they subjected to a racial or some sort of segregational apartheid predicated upon the fact that they were women? Were they subjected to shackles and transported on boats where they couldn't move? Were they told that whoever your family was, forget them. Whatever your religion is, forget it. Whatever your language is, forget it. On the account that they were women? No. And so I'm tired. I'm telling you. I keep showing these. I gotta go back and show it to the people who are misinformed, because they keep telling these women were part of the fucking Klan. These women were part of the slave-based project, the segregation-based project. They introduced sex in order to obfuscate and to basically disrupt civil rights, man. And you don't fucking get it. Oh, I'm a woman, so I can get something out of it. That's all you see. Especially if you're I'm a woman of color or something. That's all you see. Well, I belong to a category that basically, white women say we're oppressed, so I guess whatever they say is real. And like I said before, man, I'm not saying that women don't have their own unique issues. But like, if you start trying to compare and contrast race-based discrimination with sexual discrimination and to say that they both are equally severe in terms of the kind of sanctions and the kind of outcome materialistically, I'm going to say prove it empirically. Because it look like them white women right there don't look like they hurting for shit. Don't look like they living in shacks and shit. Don't look like they working from sea to sea and shit. They look like they intimidate us to me. They don't look like they're intimidated and scared and nervous and shit. They look like they into intimidation. Yeah, okay, well, you know what, Samantha, man? I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. You want me to be quiet and adjust my temper, my temperance for you so that you feel safe? Bitch, fuck you. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about your feelings either. Get rid of these trolls, man. If they don't like this shit, get the fuck out of here. Nobody is asking for you bitches to sit here and to listen to none of this shit. If you don't like what's being said, get your bitch ass the fuck on, man. Kick rocks. Let the doorknob hit you with a good Lord split you. Get the fuck on. I don't give a fuck, man. I'm supposed to just stop behaving like I gotta speak in a calm and dispassionate tone to adjust to your fucking sensibilities. I don't give a fuck about your fainting couch bullshit. Oh, it's a nigga talking and he's raising his voice. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Fuck out of here, man. Tell me what I can say on my format. Then you start talking about terror and violence and malevolence and managed and controlled evil. They take themselves out of the fucking equation. They don't want to be a part of that shit. They want you to be evil. They'll typecast you as somehow abhorrent, malevolent, or evil, or obnoxious. But the obnoxiousness that they create tangibly on a day-to-day fucking basis systematically, we supposed to ignore that shit, right? Then you're gonna tell me to be quiet. Then they got a whole feminists created the whole concept of tone policing. Then you get on my shit and you try to tone police me? Man, fuck y'all, man. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. You're not gonna tone police me after you created a norm about tone policing, but then you tell me I gotta shut the fuck up to make you feel comfortable. Fuck that shit. I'm tired of this bullshit. Tell me I gotta make you feel comfortable. Man, fuck your comfortability. I ain't comfortable, so you ain't gonna be comfortable goddamn either. Fuck about your comfortability. Oh, I should have expected this or that. Give a fuck. And one thing about it is you don't have to sit here and listen to none of this. You ain't got to be here if you don't like to be here. Ain't nobody forcing you to see shit going on the Green Gorilla channel. No one. This is the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, with no motherfucking chasers. And I'm King Kong in this motherfucker. Then I bet you half of these motherfuckers black women too. First thing they do is they go holler at Charlie and shit. Oh, white massa. Oh, some nigga done said something I don't like. Can you please put that nigga in the stockades, please? Can you fix this nigga massa, please? Miss Ann, please? Can you get this nigga, please? this nigga, please. He said something made me feel a little rough, but the hair on the back of my neck stood up a little bit. Anyway, the whole point is they're attacking race-based affirmative action, but not gender-based affirmative action. Because it's a lot of white motherfuckers, white women, they are already included into the white social body. They're supposed to be materially well off. And if they're gay, who gives a fuck if they're gay or not? This is the one thing that a lot of black folks that are queer don't really actually get. That slavery in and of itself was a queer motherfucker's playground. It's a goddamn freak show. But we deny that though, right? Like sexual intrusion and assault was not, and homoerotic sexual intrusion was not a constitutive part of the slave-based project, man. But now they want rights and shit. Now they been outcast. You wasn't outcast when you was doing all that freaky ass shit to little black boys and girls, now were you? None of that same pressure is operating on the basis of gender. The result, significant strides for white women, not for women of color. Come on, man. Look, I'm just, leave it up to a woman, they'll write themselves and center themselves because we've been decentered. I'm just sick of all this centering recognition shit. I'm tired of it, man. Because the way we see women of color is their race before their gender, women of color haven't benefited from it. And that's some bullshit. Y'all have benefited from this shit. The proof is in the fucking pudding. And Dr. Johnson has the statistics on the comparing and contrasting how well off black women are related to black men in relation to education, incarceration, and a whole bunch of other fucking graphics and stats. I just ain't got time to dig into the bowels and entrails of all of it right this second. So that's one article. And the question is, why would they sink something that's benefiting them? Because the shit was a ruse to begin with. It was a way for them to hijack the civil rights movement to begin with. Now everybody's talking about sex-based justice and shit like that. And then black people are so fucking dumb. Politically. So politically naive. Whatever white people say, whatever kind of methodologies and heuristics and discourses and narratives and scripts they devise, all we do is adopt them for our own individual purposes so that we can push and jockey to be tokens in whatever fucking systems they set up, man. I won't be one of them good little niggas. I won't be able to get one of them good little niggas that got a seat at the table. Ain't got no power at the table. I'm serving water at the table, but at least I'm close to that table. I'm at that table though. Got me a good job. Got me good job. Got me a good old job. Got me a job. Looking good, my good old job. And then they want you to be cool, like want you to be dispassionate and, like to talk to them with like softness and make sure because they're pliable and, they're susceptible to being emotively disturbed or something. Fuck out of here. Like I give a fuck. Look at the next one, man. This is written by a woman named Karen Attiah or Attiah. Now, I'm guaranteeing you there's going to be some centering of black women, always. White women have helped sink the affirmative action ship. The root of bias in admissions is white supremacy, not affirmative action. You think? That's a white supporter there. A sweaty greeting from Dallas Heat Dome. Temperatures here have risen to make my home city hotter than 99% of the rest of the planet. So far, our notorious power grid has held up. It's probably no wonder I've been writing a lot lately about water, sinking ships, and yes, avoidable disasters. In the U.S., we have this myth that our democracy is a solid ship. Or is a solid ship, the arc of history and progress moving in the right direction. But the Supreme Court decision to strike down affirmative action in college admissions is yet another sign that certain Americans are intent on torpedoing hard-earned progress, specifically black progress. And here's the thing. This is the thing that's really fucking killing me here, right? We're under the illusion that the system set up and established the way that it is one in which black folks have been able to gain some real estate. Black people don't have any wealth in this country for real. Look at the wealth gap. Fuck all a lot of times what black people do is we talk about jobs and the resources that we get from our net or our gross incomes related to white folks. That's not the picture that you should really be looking at. Because you can earn $100,000. If you got $120,000 worth of bills, you still ain't got shit. You should be paying attention to how much wealth you have in relation to other demographics of persons. Not how many titles and degrees you got, not what kind of job you have, but how much money and resources you've been able to accumulate that's going to be wealth that you can pass on to whoever the fuck you desire to. It's about having abundance, not about having an amount of money that you get monthly or annually. All we keep talking about is, well, I'm a member of the middle class. I'm in the middle class. So fucking what? So anyway, the think pieces, punditry, and analysis will gush out over the next few days, and black people especially are going to be asked for their reactions to go on camera and express their pain, anger, and indignation. Here's my initial reaction. Media outlets are going to blah, blah, blah. Y'all should be sticking the mics and cameras in their faces in terms of like white women, because they're the ones who benefited the most. That's her reaction, right? We've been saying this on this channel. While the ruling was about college admissions specifically, the discourse has been on affirmative action more broadly in society, as Wendy Leo Moore wrote last year in Teen Vogue. In the aftermath of the civil rights movement, affirmative action was a benign phrase used by presidents JFK and LBJ to indicate that the government needed to take purposeful action or act affirmatively to end discrimination on the basis of race and gender. But here's the issue with this interpretation. They always got to stick gender in there. But it's important for people to understand that gender initially was stuck in there for a specific reason. I'm going to tell you that the congressperson or man that initiated all of this His name was Howard Smith. He's a Democrat from Virginia. And he introduced sex into civil rights legislation for a specific set of reasons. One, either to stymie or to block its ability to be passed, or two, to circumvent any progress for black folks, because fuck it. If it's the case that some new rights are going to be gained in this country, it's going to go to my mom, it's going to go to my mama, my sister, my daughter, not these niggas. Everybody's been jockeying around the Civil Rights Act and what they can get, what they can squeeze out of it, like blood out of a turnip. Everybody's been trying to find a way to get as much as they can out of the Civil Rights Act, which was intended initially for black folks who endured the horrors of slavery. And one can argue even for Native Americans who were subjected to horrible acts of genocide. Again, the evidence is there. All you got to do is look for it. I'm going to play the video one more time, man.
Most important changes that have taken place in respect to the status of women since you've been in Congress.
Well, I think perhaps the most important change was the one that added sex to the bill of 1964. This bill was drafted really to help Negroes. Now, it wasn't clear. It would have meant that Negro women would have been given rights that were not available to white women. Therefore, we added sex. It is my belief that the drafters had never had assumed that no women would get any rights. So that I think both white and black women were helped by the bill.
Now, if it's the case that white women hijacked the civil rights movement and that black women to some degree were able to participate and get the crumbs that white women left behind, what the fuck happened to Negro men, huh? So let me answer this question because it's important. The Mississippi Delta guy is asking. So is gender-based affirmative action next? Or is it already gynocratic resources given out? It's already gynocratic resources given out. When sex was added to the Civil Rights Act, it became hijacked at that moment. It meant that there would be no real remedy for race, no reparations, no sincere, honest, a candid attempt to rectify the injustices of history. We see that all it was a power grab by white folks to circle the wagons around themselves and to ensure that they would remain in a hegemonic position. That's it. So they already got effectively, what they already have is a gender-based affirmative action policy. This is what diversity and inclusion really means. Now, intersectionality is just a way for women of color or gay people to write themselves into the equation as tokens. As tokens. That's just the facts, man. You can hate it or love it. It's the reality. Because let me tell you something. I want you to think about this critically. Has white women's entry into the marketplace led to a significant change in the substance, the basic structure of Western United States culture, economically or politically at all? Has it resulted in any substantive changes at all? And if so, what changes are they? I don't see any changes at all. This is what the new progressivism is about. All they're doing is reproducing what white men reproduce. Now it's like the Wizard of Oz or like the President of the United States. You see a changing face, but you see the same system in place. Nothing has changed. You got a changed face. You got a different mask. Somebody wearing a different mask, but there has not been an attendant change in the system and the structure itself. So you thought white women were going to get into these positions and all of a sudden start sprinkling fucking Skittles and shit everywhere and pixie dust and everything was just going to start being better and more beautiful because they care more? Women are already aware that women can be the nastiest bitches to each other, man. Let's keep it a fucking buck, bro. Y'all know that shit. Don't gaslight us, man. Y'all ain't perfect, man. Ain't nobody on this planet perfect. But all they wanted, all white women wanted, was to fucking be in a position to get their own slice of the devil's pie. That's it. They didn't want to change the way the pie was going to be split. They just wanted their little piece of the motherfucking pie the way it was already being split. They just wanted to be added to the game of musical chairs. And you know somebody, when you play musical chairs, somebody is going to be ass out. We just had to start telling the truth, man. Let me get back to this article real quick, though. Make it a little bigger here, man. But since then, right-wing critics have, see, and they want to blame this shit on the right. Oh, it's all about the right. They've been attacking us forever. The right. It's just the right that's been doing this. I just hate people that do this shit like the left is on the right side of justice here. Them the same white bitches that taking advantage of these programs, and guess where they go? They go back to their fucking neighbor. Man, the shit that it fucks me up, man, how incessantly you hear this scripting as if the left is this, like positive side. They say they want to get rid of binaries and shit, but all they do is binary thinking. They lump everything into simplistic left or right, black or white categories. Oh, the left progressive, good. The conservative right, malevolent, bad, evil. It's like it's Zoroastrianism or some shit. And they act like the leftist liberals have been on the right side of justice related to this shit. Then the major motherfuckers talking about diversity and inclusion, gaining the benefits that black people was actually supposed to receive if there was going to be a sincere gesture to remedy the fucking horrors and the atrocities that took place during slavery and Jim Crow, which white women just walked in the way of. Now you surprised that a snake is really a fucking snake? Oh, well, now you're surprised. Anyway, it's well documented that the people who benefited the most from affirmative action are white women. It was designed that way. The Civil Rights Act was designed to interpolate white women first. They hijacked the Civil Rights Act and all of the so-called government policies that were supposed to be directed towards black folks and other really and truly disenfranchised groups. It went to white women. And then I asked the question, what the fuck was happening to white women that was so fucked up? I need somebody to tell me what was happening to white women that was so fucked up, above and beyond what was happening to black folks. Was white women told that they can't go inside of fucking hotels and Woolworths and shit like that? Oh, you can't come here, ma'am. When they told to go in the back of the bus, oh, miss ma'am, you can't sit here. You got to go in the back of that bus there. Now, I'm not saying that, there weren't some issues that white women had. I'm not saying that. But the issues have nothing on what was going on related to race. Nothing comparable. And let me just, look, disagreement, man, look, let me just say this. I just want you to be aware of one thing. First and foremost, not black, but white women owned slaves. They owned property. They literally owned property. Bills of sale. They traded back and forth in slaves. They trafficked human beings. They inherited property from their fathers and their husbands. White women were able to get the vote 40 to 50 years after white men secured the vote. Because if you understand anything about the history of Western civilization, you'll understand that initially, especially even in Western U.S. society, white men, only a small class of white dudes can vote, man. We have to stop telling these lies and making these assumptions about what people were able to do and when they were able to do it. So white women followed behind white men, yeah, true indeed. But how many years behind? And then how long did it take for black people to get what white women had? How long did black people have to lumber behind white women? Because you already know, look, if you know anything about the history of Western society, you'll know that initially you had what was called in Europe the divine right of kings. Could nobody fucking vote in medieval fucking Europe? Till you get Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who developed something called the social contract tradition. And they begin to talk about the state of nature and the rights men have in that state. And then they begin to challenge the divine right of kings, and then they come up with the idea of natural rights theory. Which then, creates, this whole idea about republics and democracy and shit like this. And men began to check the whole concept of nobility. But prior to that, everybody was subjected to the autocratic rule or will of despots throughout the history of the world, man. And I know what nobody is going to sit here and tell me is this, that a woman who's a member of a nobility has less rights, less privilege, and less access than some fucking dumb serf somewhere in Europe, a male serf. I'm just tired of it. I am a fucking doctor, man, of philosophy, bro. Now I'm speaking to you like somebody on the street or whatever the case, a corner preacher, but I'm not dumb, man. I've read history. And I think outside of the box. I don't think inside of the lines that white people neatly draw up for me. And I got to stay inside of the color book lines. Nobody's going to sit here and tell me that a white woman in the fucking goddamn antebellum South during Jim Crow has less power and privilege than a motherfucking black dude, a black man, who got to go to the fucking back of the bus and go to the servant's entrance at the hotel. We already know Africa had slaves. Like, so what? Man, at the end of the day, we all know about Abigail Fisher. She couldn't get into the University of Texas, so the bitch went fucking postal and decided she was unfairly discriminated against based upon her race. while affirmative action was already doing work to ensure that people from her demographic had access, more so than any other fucking goddamn population or group. But it's all about whiteness at this point. So anyway, although her grades were not good enough to put her in the top 10% of her class, she claimed that she deserved the spot because she put the effort in. She worked hard. So this is my question. If white women have historically been both the beneficiaries of affirmative action and its biggest detractors, why are we not interrogating them on what this ruling means? Well, because they don't have to do shit. You talk about protection, them bitches pretty much get whatever the fuck they want. And they always have. Anyway, she says, why are black people being made to answer what they feel about these systems which we neither created nor greatly benefited from? I know that the immediate answers will bring this up. This was a ruling against race, not gender, and to that I will say it was a ruling specifically rooted in anti-blackness in efforts to halt black advances or access to advancement. But it's always been that. Not at the elimination of the policy, but at the inception of the policy itself, when it was hijacked. See, this the shit that people don't, like, you mistake falling on the canvas for the actual punch. This is what I don't get with these people, man. They mistake getting knocked the fuck out and being on the canvas to the left jab and the right hook to put them in the motherfucking position to where they're on the ground anyway. All I'm saying is the C's for the elimination of affirmative action, really not the elimination of it, but the hijacking of it, were already present. You already weren't being able to benefit from it. So who cares if it ends? You already wasn't getting shit out of it. Not for real. So anyway, I'm not interrogating these truths. White women get to benefit from innocence and victimhood, even though the road to Thursday's ruling was paved by using them as a Trojan horse of sorts, by focusing on the reactions of black people, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But here's the thing. This is what I don't like. The white men in charge of this country can and will come from white women too. No, they won't. This is what you don't understand. They're not coming for white women. You dumb. This is fucking dumb. They coming for white women too. Coming for them how? This is the shit that they think that Roe v. Wade in and of itself is an attack against white women. Because they're so steeped in liberal ideology that they can't see that, first of all they're trying to do is set up the grounds so that they can reproduce whiteness, man. That's it. That's what Roe v. Wade is about. They want to keep open the potential for whiteness to reproduce itself. This is not an attack against white women, as much as it is an encouragement for white women to understand the precepts of white nationalism and to have some white fucking babies so that the white race can persist. This is what the fuck it is. But black folks, man, take everything at face value, man. They think this is coming for white women. White men have never come for white women. One important reason why. They need white women to reproduce whiteness. So they can never, ever get rid of white women. white women are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of everything that white men hold dear. Do you understand that shit? Do you get it? There's a difference between malevolent sexism and benevolent sexism. A lot of people don't understand that. There is a difference between benevolent sexism and malevolent sexism. Benevolent sexism is a form of sexism that is presented as admiration and protection toward women. And quite frankly, a lot of black women are demanding benevolent sexism as well. Oh, we not protected, we not provided for, we not able to live soft lives. So it's not like overt or hostile misogyny, which is blatant discrimination, derogatory remarks, or violent behaviors against women. It's basically protective paternalism. And it idealizes women as pure and nurturing. And there's an expectation that women will adhere to traditional gender roles. And a lot of people perceive benevolent sexism as a good thing. For instance, a man, or it be insisted upon that a man pay for dinner because a woman thinks that she shouldn't pay, or believing that women are naturally more empathic, or they care more, they're more nurturing. But one could argue there's a difference between benevolent sexism, which is by and large the most prevailing kind of sexism that exists in this culture or has existed. It wasn't some evil maniacal patriarchy where they forced white women to drudge and toil and shit like from sea to sea. It's ridiculous, man. They had niggas to do that shit. They had niggas to do that shit. Oh, they made you work hard. They made us, they took our labor. No, they didn't. They had niggas breastfeed your goddamn babies. Now these motherfuckers, they mad because what? They ain't got no domestics no more? Oh, and we're suffering in the home. Like, we're forced, we gotta work 2 jobs. Bitch, you motherfuckers made niggas work inside your houses. Come on, man. Now they got this they done created an entire rhetoric surrounding their exploitation in the house. And they were the main ones fucking exploiting black folks inside of their own goddamn houses. Now they got, everybody's hitching their wagon to their fucking conversations, their duplicitous, fork-tongued, devilish lying asses about this shit. Behind their well, I gotta work, and then I gotta come home to work. First of all, you worked. You didn't have to work at all. They didn't have to work damn near at all. Didn't have to do shit. I said, man, they got a meme rolling around where you got guys like, well, if your wife was making 200 G's or making, like 300 G's, would you be a house husband? And you got then all of a sudden the motherfucking men start putting on aprons and shit and getting vacuum cleaners out. Goddamn right. Then you get Betty for Dan, they come and they reinterpret reality and shit, and they make it to where what's comfortable looks like something that's like a torture chamber or something. No, I'm just... Exactly. They had Aunt Jemima before the syrup. She was the one in the motherfucking house cooking and toiling and laboring. Now they got all kinds of discourses about being exploited and shit. Oh, I'm a white lady. I'm exploited. Right. Sure thing, miss. And then everybody in the world is hitching their wagon to this shit. I don't fucking get it. I don't understand. I'm trying to figure it out. Like I was born at night. I wasn't born last night. I might be some dumb. I ain't fucking plumb dumb. They coming for white women. They ain't coming for no white women, man. They not coming for white women, man. Black women need to stop trying to use that argument. They not coming for white women next. No, they're not. Because they're part of the social body of whiteness, and they reproduce whiteness out of their fucking bodies. Out of their wombs is the reincarnation, like, you know, the phoenix. Out of the white vagina arises anew a white body. So they're never gonna fucking come after white women. It's naive. I'm gonna read one more of these. I can't, you know, this shit right here. Oh man, bro. Bruh. I'm gonna leave the invite. I'm just saying, look, I know I'm talking harshly. I know I'm yelling. I know I'm being vulgar and obscene. But I think that all of the nice, dispassionate conversation and rhetoric associated with discourse, political discourse in the United States is bullshit. It leads to nothing. It sparks no passions. It arouses or invokes no disposition to alter and change anything. Just a bunch of fucking, you know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what's happening in the U.S. related to this. It's just a bunch of fucking daffy dancing. It's what the fuck it is. So it's a whole bunch of daffy dancing. Everybody daffy dancing and shit. I'm gonna cut me a little jig. What's up, Salchi? What's cracking with you, man?
Man, everything's good, man. You BGS, Dr. Johnson, y'all been on fucking fire this week.
Hey, bro, look, fire is as fire does. And look, the reason we on fire is because we've been saying this shit for 3 years. I know I have since I've been in the space. I've been saying this shit. I've been saying the same thing. My tune has not changed. And what I don't like is the milquetoast, daffy dancing politics that we contemporarily have that basically utilizes a framework of black tokenism. But it just ignores material dialectics, class-based politics. It ignores and absconds away from racial terror and horror outside of the context and the boundaries of what white people find palatable, especially on the white left, or what they, you know, they've developed these enclaves where they determine what's suitable or unsuitable related to political discourse. And it's getting my goat, man. And then they try to silence you. Then they come and they try to tell you, you're misogynistic, you're homophobic, you're X, Y, and Z. You know, everything is a way to deflect away from the issues that you have to present. It's always a check and a double check. And then if it ain't that, then it's, then they go back to what you already know works the best. Demonize the nigga to death.
Correct.
Demonize the nigga to death. There you go. Present the brutal black sexist assaulter or some shit like that. And I'm not to say that these guys don't exist, but to say that they don't exist in the inverse as well is a lie. I'm hearing women say shit that's if they know anything about the material world, I don't see how they're saying any of the shit that they're saying. But it's white women started this conversation about their own oppression. And white women talking about their own oppression? The nerve of these motherfuckers. I mean, they got a hell of a lot of fucking nerve, bro. To talk about how they were left out. And how they don't see themselves as, enfranchised and all this shit. When no buck was stopped in order to procure their comfortability and their safety. Motherfuckers were killed in their behalf. Oh, you said that nigga was looking at you? He made you feel a certain type of way? We're gonna get that nigga tonight. Oh, white women have no power. They have the power of death for certain segments of the population. All it takes is a word or a gesture. But they have no power. The ultimate power over any group or a population of persons is fucking what? It's death, man. To be able to justify, to facilitate, and to be the catalyst for death is the most ultimate form of power that any goddamn group of people can possess on the planet. That's the ultimate form of power over somebody else. They have power over whether they live or die. Oh, man, we're powerless. We have no power at all. Salty, go ahead, man. Go ahead, bro.
Man, I definitely didn't want to interrupt, but I do have first quarter numbers on wages. But before I even get into that, when you talk about wealth, that's very important to understand, because a lot of people don't understand the definition of wealth is income that is not tied to your current labor. So for those who actually have wealth or, real money, that they can actually live off of comfortably without working, you're talking millions, not including your house, because in my world, we don't include your residential house in wealth. A lot of people don't know that. So that means your own business, most likely your own businesses, or you got money in the stock market and you're getting dividends. So you got millions in the stock market, in an index, or most likely in S&P 500, right? You're getting dividends, which is taxed lower than earned income. So people don't realize how far ahead some people really are. Like, people don't want to know what I know, because people would delete themselves. Seriously. Because they really think they got a chance. Because for those, especially a lot of these women who have their degrees, they don't have a chance financially. They really just don't. But anyway, in terms of first quarter income, right? And we're going to talk about, especially with the blacks, right? Right at median, black men, $886. That's 25%. So you're right in the middle. That's $886 a week. Last quarter this year. Black women, $909. Okay? But now if we look at the median for everybody by educational attainment, you're looking at $1,253 a week for men, and for women, $1,034. Now here's the kicker though, because when people hear those numbers, oh, you see, women are being oppressed. No. Men on average work like some 42, 43 hours per week. Women don't even crack 40. And to be quite frank, many of them don't even crack 35.
Right.
So that's why That's why it seems that they're oppressed and they're not. And remember, there's a difference between wages and compensation. Compensation includes your benefits. Women have more benefits. So if we want to include the benefits as well, like the women are winning, working less hours.
But look, let's just keep it a buck, man. The system has been designed to advantage white women.
Yes.
Bottom line, this system has been established and set up, and it always has, to some degree, been set up and established in such a way that white women are benefited and made comfortable. It has to be set up that way if whiteness is going to reproduce itself.
Yes.
And to argue the converse, to me, is a ruse designed to obfuscate what's really happening underneath the seams or underneath the surface in American politics and culture. We act as if American society has moved to some sort of progressive, or at least in the past 60 to 70 years, has been incrementally moving in a place with this more inclusive and diverse and expansive.
No.
It's never been doing that.
No.
And at every turn, there's an occasion in which America has an opportunity to do what it can to, repair what has been, the result of the wrong it's done, so predicated upon its own principles. They do everything to do the exact opposite of that. And they don't come out directly and disclose exactly how they circumvent, progress for people who have been excluded from the social body. They just find, like little bullshit ways in order to, speak with forked tongues or to be equivocators about the issue. And then everybody hitches their wagon onto that because they know where the gravy train is. And then they use language and principles and ideas that pretty much are nothing more than mimics, Xeroxes, aping of their viewpoints or their talking points so that they can have inclusion by proxy.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, this is my disposition with this, right? And you're a financial advisor. You're somebody who you work in the financial industry, okay? I'm trying to explain to people that in the United States of America in general, there has been a shrinking of the middle class. There has been, a disruption in the way that the economy actually works. We have the financialization of the economy, which is the economy using financial instruments in order to gain money as opposed to actually investing in infrastructure and in business, brick and mortar businesses.
1000% correct.
And so what is the result of that? It's not an investment in the people of the United States, but a small sector of technocrats and, financial experts who are able to manipulate complex financial instruments in order to basically cut out everybody else and to gain more money for themselves, and then to tell people everybody benefits from this activity. Like everybody's winning, like all boats are being lifted by the tide of my gain. Again, and people believe this shit. Like I don't understand I don't understand how people get this shit.
What we just, for me, the perfect example for anyone to understand was to see what just happened during COVID. When many people were at home, we saw the wealthiest people, their wealth increased times. We saw it live. So if people can't digest that, in my opinion, you're finished. You don't need to know any equations.
Look, I wrote an article on my website. I will share it if I can get the link to it. I wrote an article entitled Financial Engineering Instruments, What They Are, How They Impact Average Workers, and Why They Require Proper Regulation. I'll leave it in the chat. Okay? Ultimately, what I've been trying to explain to people is that people are trading in derivatives, collateralized debt obligations, which are CDOs, They have structured investment vehicles. And the impact on the average worker is that when these instruments are used irresponsibly and are not properly regulated, they hurt the wider economy. You got the subprime mortgage crisis of 2008.
I was just about to say that, yes.
Was largely the cause of the misuse of complex financial instruments like collateralized debt obligations and structured investment vehicles.
Yep.
And they were investing in subprime mortgages that they knew were going to default. This is a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
But it's like, you remember when COVID first hit, people started trading in these little fucking investment boards and shit. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah.
You can put into this board, put into the, and then you always got to invest your money back into the board or whatever the case. It's a Ponzi scheme.
But the thing is, guys like myself, when we come out and we tell people what's really happening, we either get blacklisted, blackballed, or they say we're crazy. So then now that's why a lot of us don't come out, because it's like, yo, we're literally telling y'all the game of how it works, and y'all basically telling us to go fuck off, or trying to destroy our career. But then when shit hits the fan, it's like, then you're like, what happened? No, but we told you like 2, 5, 10, 20 years ago, and you still didn't get it?
Bruh, just stay with me, man. Look, all I'm going to do is say this, right? I'm going to read one more article. I ain't going to read the sister's article. I'm going to read the other article, because I'm just tired of black women's take on shit. It's like, to me, I think sometimes the shit that they say is just absolutely fucking naive. Like the very notion that white men are going to come after white women is fucking fantastical. It's a misrecognition of what racism really is and what white nationalism really actually entails, and who's investing in it and who's not.
Correct.
And I just don't understand what a lot of them, they drink this fucking Jim Jones Kool-Aid from what they get at the academy, and they believe that look, I know a lot of white ladies in the academy, okay? And I talk to like how I'm talking to you now. But hey, bro, I don't fucking bite my tongue, bro.
Yeah.
Like if we sitting around having drinks and some shit, I'll be like, hey, look, you know white women are part of, you know your fucking demographic has been part of the colonial, slave-based, and Jim Crow project. You all aware of that. And it, like a lot of times y'all were the catalyst for lynching, correct? You all aware of that. You get that, right? But then you'll turn around and say I'm privileged. Like people like me are privileged. Yeah. And then you'll fucking co-sign black women doing that shit, because in reality what it is as long as we're attacking each other, nobody points the finger at y'all.
Yes.
Y'all get to basically, you know how the motherfucker that started the fight, they walk away and shit while all the dust, everybody's exploding in a brawl inside of the bar, but the motherfucker who started the brawl in and of itself, they get to just walk out quietly, and be like, yeah, I set that shit off.
Unscathed. Yes.
That's how this is. Yeah. And I look, anyway, man, look. This is the last, you read this already, okay? So it says, look, it's been a long goodbye. The Supreme Court declared race consciousness in college admissions, also known as affirmative action, unconstitutional today. The vote was predictable. 6-3, with all the justices appointed by Republican presidents standing together to revoke the policy. And look, white people are not stupid. They're going to look after what they consider to be their own racial interests. Even if there is a movement in a different direction, they'll know how, they'll work tirelessly. And they'll use political machinery, right? Even if it takes time, even if it takes decades, they will ensure that they can stem the tide. This is the equivalent of a siege related to what trajectory the country's going to take. But you already know, you should have some indication that the country is going to take a white nationalist trajectory in all instances. This is what the fuck it does best. I just don't understand what people don't get about this. Even on the left or the right. The right, at least they're frank and upfront and will tell you what the fuck they about. The leftists, They'll try to hide it under the veneer of grandstanding and virtue signaling, but they stabbing your ass in the fucking kidney. Anyway, the majority opinion was written by Justice Roberts, who ruled that affirmative action violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which was initially intended to ensure that black people. No, I ain't going into it, man. The amendment, of course, was written explicitly to revoke racism practiced by whites against blacks through their slavers' constitution, but Roberts doesn't care about all that. Of course not. Why the fuck would he? They never have cared. His opinion attempts to capture the 14th Amendment and to redeploy it to justify a version of colorblindness, which is what white liberals are doing as well, you motherfuckers. What you mean? Oh my God, bro. You think white liberals ain't about the colorblind project, man? And tout this shit and push that narrative? That's all they do. Anyway, like last year's revocation of reproductive rights in Dobbs versus Jackson, the decision today in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard and Students for Fair Admissions UNC achieves a long-standing conservative policy goal through the fiat of 6 unelected Supreme Court justices. It's fucking fair play in politics in the United States. It's how you do shit. It just is what it is. Now, I mean, now it's unfair, right? So now what, they gonna try to change the judiciary and shit? Come on, man. That shit ain't work when FDR tried to do the shit. Anyway, conservatives have been gunning for affirmative action since the policy was reintroduced in the 60s. It had been previously used during Reconstruction, and conservatives killed it then too. But then at that point, the conservatives were Democrats. But anyway, today is a victory for the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, and the entire conservative legal establishment that has correctly identified the courts as the way to reverse policies they don't like. But the death of affirmative action was not achieved merely through the machinations of Republican lawyers. While conservatives on the Supreme Court delivered the fatal blow, the policy has long been made vulnerable by the soft bigotry of parents whose commitment to integration and equality turns cold the moment their little cherub fail to get into the first choice of college or university. That's true. I'll say that. Because as soon as it impacts or affects them, nobody's going to arc on the side of justice. They're going to be like, oh, well, what about my little Johnny or Sarah Sue? If you want to see a white liberal drop the pretense that they care about systemic racism and injustice, tell them that their privately tutored kid didn't get into whatever elite school they were hoping for. I agree with that. If you want to make an immigrant family adopt a Klansman's view of intelligence culture and the work ethic of black folks, tell them that their kids' standardized test scores are not enough to guarantee entry into ivy-draped halls of power. Some of the most horribly racist claptrap folks have felt comfortable saying to my face has been said in the context of people telling me why they don't like affirmative action or why my credentials are somehow unearned because they were given to me by affirmative action. Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You just
all right, my mic went out for a minute there. I bumped my line, and then it programmed it. I use GarageBand in order to present my audio. But anyway, the last bit is in some ways the most devastating. Black people are attacked and shamed simply because the policy exists, regardless of whether it benefited them or not. I've had white folks, and white women benefited from it the most. I've had white folks whom I could standardize test into a goddamn coma tell me that I got into school only because of affirmative action. I once talked to a white guy whose parents' name was on one of the buildings on campus, who asked me how it felt to know I got extra help to get in. The sheer nerve of white folks is sometimes jaw-dropping. Affirmative, and look, here's the issue here. We don't live in a meritocratic society, bro. We need to stop the whole fucking idea that we live in a meritocratic society. We don't, bro. We don't. All that meritocracy bullshit is some fake white bull. If it's the case that everything is based on merit, then you wouldn't need to have race-based politics to begin with. Correct. You wouldn't need it. It would be unnecessary. It would be what? superfluous. You wouldn't need any protectionism. You wouldn't need to circle the wagons. You would automatically be superior. You wouldn't have to prevent people from reading, gaining access to wealth, having access to schools and the like, because it would automatically be such that your intelligence would just, be eclipse that of the other group who's inferior to you. But we need to stop the whole idea or the notion that there's a such thing as a meritocracy in the U.S. It's bullshit. I could go on and on with this shit, man. This article is too long for me, bro. I'm not about to read all that shit. That's just too long. I'm just, if you got some questions, like I know I was harsh to some people, in the chat, but man, look, I'm tired of motherfuckers coming on my show telling me what I can say, how I should be, inflecting in terms of my vocal tone, what I can and what I can't say. Don't censor me. Don't tone police me. Don't tell me I can't broach certain subjects. Don't tell me I have to make certain segments of the population feel certain kinds of ways because they feel like they're under threat and all this shit. Fuck that. Don't tell me what I can and what I can't say and how I can and how I can't say it. Whether you're in the manosphere or outside of the manosphere, don't fucking tell me what I can say and what the fuck I can't say. Don't censor me. Don't try to duct tape my mouth. If you don't like what I have to say, you are free to burn out. But I don't have I have conversations, just so this woman understands. I have women on my show all the time. I have conversations with women all the time.
Yeah.
If you're respectful to me, I definitely will be respectful to you. Now, I'm not going to change up all of everything I say and my demeanor, because I don't believe in fainting couch feminism. I'm not for that shit where women are like soft and delicate. You better not touch them. If you touch them, if you say something, then all of a sudden, they're gonna, like faint or whatever. No, I'm not for that, man. I don't infantilize women. I'm not about to. I have read the Combahee River Collective, and one which I consider to be the black feminist Bible. And one of the things they say, I'm gonna read a quote from it. Combahee. Yale University has the Combahee River Collective statement on their site. Pedestal. This is what they say. And look, this is what they, and I'm willing to give it to them. I'm willing to give them to them. See this shit? In the case of black women, this is a particularly repugnant, dangerous, threatening, and therefore revolutionary concept because it's obvious from looking at all the political movements that have preceded us that anyone is more worthy of liberation than us. They say, we reject pedestals, we reject queenhood, and walking 10 paces behind. All we want to do is be recognized as human, levelly human. So they don't want to be pedestalized. So they don't want benevolent sexism. They don't want to be protected and all this shit and provided for. They just want to be treated as human. This is the Black Feminist Bible, the Combahee River Collective Statement. I talk to women all the time. I have no issue talking to women. But I have a problem with people who want me to pedestalize them and to treat them differently on the account that they, are women. Like, I'm like, man, look, I talk to my daughter, my daughters, whatever. I talk to whoever the fuck, like a human being. I think that everybody can be treated and talked to like a human being. Now, sometimes I'm vulgar and ignorant, but all of this, I try to tease out the truth through my rhetoric and my discourse. That's what I try to do. It says making me want to download the dictionary app. Thanks for the knowledge. Look, I'm sorry for using big words. Sometimes I do. I don't even try to. But anyway, man, if you want to come in, man, if you got any questions, now's the time to do it. I know, you know, Salty, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, man. You know, and I've said this before, man. You know, I had this brief conversation kind of similar to some black women at my job last year, and they've all been there for years, and obviously I've only been there not even 2 years at this point. So 2 of them, or the 3, was complaining about, you know, obviously men, and then black men, you know, they can do whatever they want, and they make more money, and this, that, and the third. And what about black women? This, that, and the third. So, you know, I used our company as a perfect example. I said, okay, you guys been here for years, right? Yes, Al. I said, okay, so who's the CEO? Oh, it's Susan. I said, what's Susan? Oh, she's a woman. No. What's her race? Oh, she's white, right? Okay. Is she married? Yes. Okay. Her husband? Do you know what he does? No. Okay, I looked it up. He's an attorney. She's married. Husband's an attorney. She's 72 years old. Do you know her total compensation? Of course they didn't know. So her total compensation is over $5 million. Oh, yeah. Who's upstairs with her? Her son.
Let me tell you something about white folks, man. This is what I told. Look, bro, I told people, man, a while ago. So the graduate school I went to, right? So I took 3 graduate seminars in feminist philosophy, which were electives. I already took all the courses I needed to. I just wanted to take those, okay? Like I did not have to do it, okay? In order to, you know, meet the demands of my degree. And by the way, Akatunde Bowden, welcome aboard, man. Appreciate you becoming a member of the Green Gorilla channel, man. Need more people like you, sir. Thank you, man. Welcome to the Congress. Welcome to the Congress of Gorillas, man. Appreciate it. But, you know, I try to tell people, man, that this woman, man, who was, you know, like the chairperson of the feminist department, man, at the university, her husband worked at the university, and guess what his area of specialization was?
Don't.
Masculinist studies, brother. Masculinist studies, bro.
Wow.
It's the gender studies department. So she found a niche, a place for him to work.
Yeah.
She didn't say, okay, well, I'm going to foreground other women and whatever. She looked after her fucking own family members.
Exactly.
But see, what happens is what we do, because we get so versed into their ideology, we don't see how they use ideology to service their own family structure or their own ethnic structure. Yeah. Because we're so averse to ourselves because we believe everything that they say about us. So we see black people through blue eyes.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Like, I mean, it's truly unfortunate. And
I call that the Rambo mentality.
But let's CC. I want CC Chi. And look, I know I am aggressive in terms of my, my rhetoric and the way that I inflect when I go on diatribes. I do it for rhetorical effect or whatever. But what would you like to add, Miss CC Chi?
Oh, thank you for having me up. And of course, I'm subscribed to you, but I rarely come into y'all chats because I agree to disagree with some of your perspectives. But on today, I would say, based on my experience dealing with white women, I've had good experiences, but majority bad because they work to undermine whatever we're trying to progress to. They always work to undermine us. It doesn't matter whether you're whether you're a man or a woman, they always work to undermine you. And I've always had white women as my bosses. And whenever I go out for accounting positions, it's always white women who's doing the recruiting. I've always been in front of the hiring managers who are white women. So like I said, my experience has been majority dealing with white women.
Yeah, so let me just say this, right? White women are everywhere. They've always been everywhere. In terms of managing black people's progress and determining who is selected, who's not selected, how far you're able to get along, even arbitrating your death. Like they've always been there.
Right.
Now this is the thing this is the thing that perplexes me about how we perceive them and like what we consider to be progressive or not progressive. Like all of a sudden, why do you think that they would just take on a different disposition? Because they were able to what? Get in the way of what was originally designed for black people in terms of a remedy for racism, Jim Crow, and slavery. Now all of a sudden, now we really actually believe now that they have the best interest of this, enfranchised people at heart. When in actuality, they're basically inclusion is a signal that they're trying to obstruct your ascendancy or your inclusion itself. I just look. I just don't understand it. I don't understand the faith. It's almost as if these people are angels or something, and people can't perceive them as any. You ever see those horror movies where the ghost presents as delicate and kind until you say a word or you let them in or something, and then all of a sudden they turn to their true form?
Right.
Why do you have to see that? Like, why do you not know what their true form is based upon their history? Now, I'm not saying that, look, individually, all white people are not evil.
Right.
That's not what I'm trying to assert here. All I'm trying to assert, though, is when it comes to the thick and the thin, they look after themselves and then they hide under rhetoric and virtue signaling and grandstanding, and they don't really change shit. They don't change nothing.
They are the hidden hand. Even when it comes down to the births in the medical system, because I've experienced that as well. And it was because of my husband as to why they even went the extra mile to make sure I didn't die in childbirth. But they will make judgment calls to where they know, if you're not dilating, they'll be like, oh, we need you to push, knowing the baby's stressing out and all of that. And like I said, and it's them that's making the judgment call for you. But yeah, I've noticed that how they undermine, and not only that, they are like the ones that make the last judgment call on whether you get resources. Because I just recently had a case last year. I had a legal case, and it was a white lady who determined how much money I was going to get out of that case. And I had a man as a lawyer, and he went with her judgment call. It was profound to me, but it opened my eyes to who's the hidden hand is.
Well, it's not hidden. It's right there. I mean, just look at the policies. Look at when you look at any of these political, wherever you actually see them actually signing laws, you need to look at them. Who's the gender? Who's the race? Who's signing what? The problem is the majority of people, they go based off of feelings. No, you need to look at people's history, especially in this country, and that's looking at policies. Who's signing off? It's really that simple. When you see that, you get the game.
It was a white lady who was signing off on my mitigation. And the case was a 6-figure case. When me and my lawyer went in and we was talking, and the lady she talked them down to a 5-figure, and I was perplexed, and I was like, okay, this is the hidden hand, because we didn't even go before a judge. But what they did, of course, a judge had to sign off on everybody that agreed to.
It was arbitration.
But it was her who determined how much I was going to get out of that case. It was a white lady.
Now, look, let me just say this. Look, at the end of the day, people need to understand that, like the theorization of white women works to their benefit. Like they've thrust themselves into politics in a way that they haven't been, but they saw it as a necessity because of what was going on with the civil rights movement. And, like they in my viewpoint, white people are first.
Yes.
It's like being in a prison, right? Who gets to go eat first? Not you. they get to eat first. Okay. Now, if it's the case that, like, you know, so the warden ushers a new policy, they will find a way to circumvent it and still make sure that they eat first. Even though it's okay, some of you will allow 10 of you out of 1,000 of you to come eat sporadically in the line with us while we eat first. So now you got a group of people who are like, well, you know, we'll take some of the gay ones from you and some of the, you know, the women from you and allow y'all to eat with us. But like when you're eating, you're going to be serving us some water while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And every now and then we'll be on your plate, making sure that, like, if it's some dishes that we really like, we're going to give you a crumb of it. But we act like that's inclusion. Look, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is we got to be attendant to, you know, like the reality of what white folks do, man. And I'm not saying that, you know, like, I'm not saying that there aren't any good white folks out there. I think there are. Some cool white people. But the question, though, is when it comes to you and them, who they going to choose?
Themselves. Come on.
Yeah, they're going to choose themselves.
Come on. And it's easy because, again, of the policies.
Because I had some white folks look after me, you know what I'm saying, and work to, you know, help push my trajectory. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying, to help catapult me to, you know, where I could be cool.
Same here.
I've had white folks do that shit, like real talk.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I want it to be clear, though, that it's a lot of poor white people in America, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, everybody who's white in America ain't doing well, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm just telling you the truth, man. I know it.
Actually, most of them are.
Okay? But the reality is that, you know, like, one of the things that people have to be mindful of is that a lot of this is due to the unwillingness to attack the correct target. Instead of attacking the people beneath you, like, instead of punching down, punch up. But they don't know how to punch up, man. Because I think that, you know, in their minds, they feel like they're one action or one job or one gesture away from being like the elite in their own group. And it ain't that way, man. Like,
not even close.
They not like the old Italian Teamsters of old and shit. You know what I'm saying? White people today not, man. They white people soft now, man. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? And this weirdo shit that they doing with sex right now, I just, look, I'm not here to denounce gay people or whatever the case may be. I'm not here to do that, but like, a lot of this shit is weird, man.
Especially with the kids.
I'm just keeping it a buck, man. Like, and the reason I say that is this. If the thing that you are into is such that you would will for everyone to do that, would it be such that you're willing to do that would end to the annihilation of your own species? Like, the normalization of your sexual practices would lead to the diminishment of reproduction. Why would I normalize that? Why would I say that that's normal? Why would I promote that as a norm? Now, I'm not saying that, you know, that you can't engage in that behavior or that, like, that's something that I would say would, you know, ultimately make you subject to death or oppression or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, it seems to me that that which has the teleology connected to it should be that which is considered normal. Outcomes matter, man.
Yeah.
If the outcome is that there will be no reproduction, then, like, in terms of natural law, I'm looking at it like, well, why the fuck should we normalize that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we normalize and edify that which leads to fruitfulness in terms of human reproduction? That, to me, seems normal, or something that we ought to normalize based upon its teleology. But, like, the other shit is just like, it's hedonism and connected to the idea of romantic love and shit like that. Which is a relatively new, I mean, I'm not you know, romantic love has been around, like erotic love and shit like that has existed, but, like, come on, man. Like, let's
Wasn't on the
keep it.
forefront.
I'm just keeping it a buck here, man. Like, come on, bro. Like, half of this shit this culture, man, has people in a schizophrenic way.
Yes, I agree.
There's no attention span with people in this culture, man. People get tired and they quit shit as soon as they pick it up, man.
I'm bored. That's what they say.
I want you to think about that shit. Like, I mean, just think about your phone, like, or TV shows. How quickly do you change the channel?
Yep.
How quickly do you swipe left or right on your phone or whatever? Or, like, how quickly do you move from one site to the next? Or are you looking at multiple sites simultaneously? Like, are you, like, juggling things such that you can't really keep your focus? Like, I mean, we're all susceptible to this related to technology and the way it exists today. But, like, there's no focus. There's no focal practices amongst us. Everything is based upon capitalist consumption and propagandists and marketers trying to grab your attention.
Yeah.
And which makes us weak at the will. We don't have we don't have strong wills anymore. And there's no really, we don't have goals and objectives we set for ourselves. The fucking media sets our objectives for us.
Yeah.
What you desire is a matter of marketing and promotions. And that's why and Negroes are especially susceptible to this shit.
Yes. And let me add, they know this, and this is why they're changing these laws. And I told people last year, I said, BJ said it first, and I said it on my Instagram, like, yo, they're coming after affirmative action because now they just reversed Roe versus Wade. So they're going after affirmative action, and that's this year. So I'm estimating next year, because they've already started, alimony. They're going to go after alimony. They're going to go after paternity. They're already doing that now in a couple of states. So, like, people aren't paying attention to the fact that they're course correcting. Like, oh shit, China and Russia's doing X, Y, and Z. They're looking at their population and demographics, and obviously they're looking at the markets and India, and they're like, holy shit, we really fucked up. We really need to change course. But
you know what, they always look. The reason that you have the left the way that it is today was initially because of the pushback that black people gave towards race. But the only reason they even tried to correct it at all was because they were embarrassed by the spectacle of racism, while all about the world they were talking about how great democracy and capitalism was.
Yeah.
But then they had a population in their own country where they were just fucking lynching and hosing people down and beating them up and shit. And Russia's like, that's the sort of fucking democracy and the capitalism and the freedom you're exposing the world to?
Yeah.
So they had to do something to change the optics of that.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's obvious that they had to do something about that. But they only did as much as they had to. They weren't committed to that. They weren't committed to, like, righting the wrongs. They were committed to cleaning up how it looked. You ever have your parents, you were young, the parents told you to clean the room, you took all the bullshit that was in there and you just threw it under the bed or something like that? To make it look like it was clean, and then, you put the comforter over the shit, like, okay, like, it looks better now. But then you got all the shit unorganized underneath your bed. You didn't manage it, put it up, like, that's the sort of shit that America does, man.
Yeah, I did that once and I got my ass whipped, so I ain't do it again.
But I said this a long time ago. I said, look, I have no objection to women entering the market and to be able to do whatever it is they want to do within the market. I don't have any issue with it. Even black women, okay? But what I don't like is, throwing black men under the bus in order to make yourself look good for white people to say that you're better suited for the job because these niggas ain't shit and they beating our asses.
Yeah.
To me, that's dry snitching, man.
Yeah. And you know what? I've actually had white and Hispanic women say they know this because I've had them tell me this, and they say, that's really stupid. I'm quoting them. That's really dumb. Why would you not work with your man? They said that to me. And I'm just looking at them like, surprised. Oh shit,
but nobody wants to work with black men because black men,
Yeah.
like this is why black male studies is important, because like somebody like Tommy Curry is going to say, look, and it just, black people have an antipathy towards themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say that we should be able to overcome this, but, and this is why I show this clip quite often. Let me show it to you. I'm gonna show it to you. And it's not to be redundant, but it's just to demonstrate that this is what we're about, man. Like, I mean, not because we think it, but because it's a reflex. It's what we are basically, like it's a vibration that emanates through everyone in this culture.
Doll is the black doll? And which one is the white doll?
That one.
Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll?
And that's enough of me seeing that, because I don't want to see too much more of that right now, because I'm already irritated. But the whole point is, these are children. They can't rationalize in a like a graduated way. They're not using second, third, fourth order reflection to try to make arguments about why niggas ain't shit.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
They've been taught not through language, but through unconscious, non-reflective indoctrination that niggas ain't shit.
Yeah.
But it's done in the school, and I'm only speaking from my experience, because my child, when she's in class, the teacher always choose a white boy or a white girl to answer, and she gets so frustrated that she raises her hand and she's ignored. So yeah, it is indoctrination, but it's those white school teachers who does that when they're starting in kindergarten all the way to the time that they graduate.
Yeah. I personally, I'm glad that I went to an all-black grade school. Although there were white teachers at my grade school, it was all black. I went to a Catholic grade school. Not all the teachers were white, but there was an order of nuns called the Sisters of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Whatever, but I mean, they were I guess dedicated to servicing underprivileged children or some shit like that or whatever, or black children.
Yeah.
And I mean, they gave us access to a world-class education as children, man. I mean, we came from different backgrounds, a lot of us students, but I mean, they taught us how to speak English correctly, how not to split verbs. They taught us how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And, it was all black, so there wasn't any way to discriminate based on race when everybody in the student body is a minority. I mean, there was a couple of white kids here and there, but I mean, for the most part, the predominant population at the school was African American. And then I went to an all-white high school, but by that time, my mentality, like, I mean, I'm already knowing, like, I'm already confident in myself. And then, like, maybe 8 or 9 of us from the grade school also went to that school. So we had a core of black students, and then it was a black student body there at the school that I went to that was white. And I mean, we ran that fucking school in terms of like social events and shit like that, man, and sports and everything else, man. So we kind of like were able to do whatever the fuck we wanted to there. Then I went to an all black college, so it's weird the kind of experiences I've had with education, but I couldn't imagine being 7 or 8, you know what I'm saying? And then like I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of white folks and I'm getting contemptible and demeaning images about myself thrust at me. I couldn't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah.
But it's not, again, they're not using imaging to put her down. They're actually just not choosing her or not allowing her to participate. And that in itself can cause a child to withdraw from wanting to participate. And they can also perceive that I'm not good enough, but the one that they're calling on all the time is. So that indoctrination does start with them, and they place themselves as master teachers. I've noticed that even when I went to college, I went into accounting, but I noticed that a lot of white girls would go into teaching. And when I graduated from accounting, it was a white man who was also in accounting, because I worked next to him before he got his CPA, and he married a teacher. And I was like, that blew me away that he married a teacher. And here I am. I'm like, not saying I wanted him to choose me, but I was just looking at the fact that he didn't go and marry someone else who was also in accounting, because it was white girls in accounting with me. So, but he went and chose a teacher.
Yes, I mean, look, man, look, white people, man, like, look, they gonna marry white women from any, class or any educational background. I mean, they're gonna marry based upon compatibility and looks, and like some dude, you remember Dan Deerdorf? I don't know if you don't even know, you might not know, but he used to play for the Arizona Cardinals. He married a teacher a woman named Miss Ward, third grade teacher, man, who was teaching a whole bunch of little black kids and shit. And this motherfucker was playing in the NFL. He liked her, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, if a white dude got bread, even a black dude that got bread is not going to be worried about where the woman works or what type of degree she has. Yeah. That's one thing white women need to black women need to start understanding, that, like, men don't pick women predicated upon their degrees and shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand to y'all that's confusing, because you think, okay, well, doesn't this, like, mean that, like, I'm more responsible, that I have more to actually bring to the table, that, like, I'm someone he could actually talk to, I'm sophisticated, but, like, men don't really see it that way. What they see is a potential, like, intellectual battle.
Yes.
They see, like, the opportunity for, like, high levels of conflict, dissatisfaction, one-upmanship, constant competition. You know what I'm saying? Guys are like, now, personally, I don't care what your educational level is, personally. If you're smart as a motherfucker, that's cool. Let's have some conversations. But at the same time, compatibility along a whole, it's multidimensional. Yes. Can't just be about, I can talk to you. I got to be able to, sorry, I don't want to be vulgar or anything, but I got to be able to to connect with you physically, a whole bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, just your level of education in and of itself is not going to be the pretext for which I make my selection. But also what I am mindful of is that still, even though women are progressive in terms of, like, their jobs and their occupations and shit, when it comes to relationships and what men are expected to do, they still have, like, these expectations that men uphold traditional roles. And so, like, the money that they make, a lot of times women don't feel comfortable sharing their money with other guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, this is my money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't feel comfortable thinking that this is something that we're supposed to share in common. So that's one thing I think women need to work on. It's like, you're in the workplace and you want to connect with dudes. Well, shit, I mean, the whole point is sometimes you're going to have to look past yourself, because you like Salchi was talking about, like, this woman making $5 million a year. I'm pretty sure her husband don't make that much bread.
No. No.
But he's an attorney, he can advise her, you know what I'm saying? And they look at the money like, look, this is ours collectively.
Yep.
We don't have the capacity to think of ourselves as collective units about shit. We at war even when we're in the same fucking family. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to be at war with the fucking family member, man? Like, you supposed to be my motherfucking security blanket. I gotta go to war with you. It's like every night I'm engaged in a struggle with you. That's not, it fucks me up, because I've seen white women who are feminists have husbands and shit, and they cool as a motherfucker with they, like, I mean, they not, like, constantly conflicting with their husbands and shit.
Yeah.
And then, like, with black women, it's like, it's a constant fucking battle. Now, I can't say that, every woman I've been with has been that way, but, like, it's been a lot of black women I've had, like, combative experiences with. Like, what the fuck is the problem?
Exactly.
Don't worry about what the problem is.
Yeah, real aggressive.
It's aggressive and passive aggressive, because it's like I'm gonna put up a stone wall, But at the same time, I'm gonna let you know I'm pissed off. What are you pissed off about? Well, you should know already. Like, now I gotta read your mind. Like, I gotta be empathic. I gotta use ESP or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what I don't want to do is get into a woman bashing moment when I got this woman on the panel. But like, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is it's difficult. White women, man, like at the end of the day, all I'm saying is there's an unwritten alliance that white men and white women have with one another.
Yeah.
They are not divided because they haven't been subjected to division tactics. From the outside. We've been subjected to division tactics from external forces. Okay, but at the end of the day, man, like, you know, they picking us off, man. It's easy for them to pick us off, and they still, white women act like they're progressive and shit like that. But at the end of the day, man, when it comes to who's gonna get it, if it ain't them, they're not participating, and they will cut your ass off. They will cut your head off. They'll fuck your job up. They'll fire you or force you to resign. They'll like take. I remember one time. Now, I'm a black man, right? This white woman, man, was, I guess she was going up for tenure the next year or some shit like that. So it was up to either me to teach a course on the philosophy of race or her. This is a white woman. She used her power, and I was a postdoctoral fellow and not a tenure-track professor at the time. But the point is, she just opted to teach the class. Like, fuck my, you know, what it could do to help my career trajectory. She was just looking at what could help benefit her. And she wanted to teach it instead of me. And I'm like, motherfucker, you ain't even black for one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're white as a motherfucker. You literally white, but you're going to teach the philosophy of race, and you're going to prevent me from doing it. Why? You already been working at the university for fucking 5-6 years on a tenure track. There's nobody going to derail you, motherfucker. But you won't allow me to teach the course, and I'm dedicated to this for social justice reasons. And you on some, I'm a white bitch. I'm gonna do it what I want type motherfucking vibration.
And I bet she was unapologetic about it and kind of surprised that you were surprised.
Man, I'm like, look, I didn't say shit about it. I just kicked right. I went and taught African American studies. I was like, fuck it. The AFAM department will allow me to broach the subject of race, so I'll fuck with them and do it.
Okay.
And,
so
and I was going to say, and they always want us to see the world through their eyes, through their perspective. This is why they don't even like us to retell the news or news events. They strike our pages down, but they don't want us. They want us to see everything through their perspective, through their eyes.
And so, look, let me say this, CC, man. You know, I'm glad you came on the panel. I know you were hesitant to do so. And I know I barked, man. I'm not trying to really actually, scare women or some shit like that. But I don't believe in infantilizing women. I'm here to have a conversation. I will be respectable and show decorum. I think most of the women who come on my channel and have conversations with me will tell you that. Like, I talk a lot of shit, but like when I'm in conversation with people, I know what type of norms apply. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go off on you and be ignorant. I will be respectful. So come back, when you got a question or some shit like that. You ain't got to be scared. You feel me?
Oh, no doubt. And I'll drop down from here. For
sure. Well, look here, man. You got any last words you want to say, Salchi? Because I'm like almost at the 2 hour and 30 minute mark. I'm hungry. I'm ready to imbibe some food. I ate some pizza earlier, but shit, that was like maybe 3 hours ago.
Sound like a snack. Yeah, I'm about to eat myself, man. But definitely, as usual, appreciate the space, appreciate what you guys are doing. Again, this week was, you guys have definitely taken things to another level. Many of us will continue to at least try to, add and also donate because, you guys earned it. And that's the last thing I want to say. I don't see what the problem is with I don't like calling them donations. It's paying tuition. Like you pay for gas in your car, you pay for Netflix. I don't see how you can't pay for this type of information that you are most likely not going to get anywhere else for the most part, at least right now. It's not a problem.
Well, look, man, donating is not mandatory, but if you enjoy the content, if you find it informative, you can, man. It helps me to keep things going. What I would like to do at some point is move from 720p to 1020p, but that shit is like, I'm already paying $25 for this shit a month. I would like to, do this shit in 1080 instead of just 720. That way I can get, the resolution will be higher. It's already cool as is, but it could be better. And I probably would have to redesign some of the skits and some of the, the intro points and shit like that. But
And how much is that going to be?
It's just $25 extra a month. Because I'm already spending $25 a month, so it'll be $50 a month. But you start talking about 50 times, 12, shit, that's $600.
Exactly.
And like I do have another service that I use. I use Motion Array, for digital assets and shit like that, for music sometimes. I make my own music, but like this shit does cost. There are costs associated with curating a show. It costs, okay? It does. Trust me, it does. So the money that you give me, I utilize in order to invest back into the show. Now I'm not the best, but I hope that I don't look the worst, like in terms of how my presentation and how I run it. So
all right.
So yeah, man. But yeah. So thank you, man. He says BZ Glover says my tuition. We need you here like Dr. T and BGS. I'm starting from the beginning, but you are much appreciated, and I thank you for your knowledge and for being a successful slight Pookie like me. Hey, man, look, I can't help it, man. Pookie is in me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, I just don't like negative epithets being utilized against black men, and stereotypes. But anything that we could use against ourselves, like come on, man. Like, why would we do that, bro? Like, why would we create demeaning and contemptible images of our own selves? We got people out there doing enough of that for us. So, but thank you. Shout out to Be Easy Glover, man. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate it. And also, I would like to shout out Andre 416. He's a new member, and anytime I get new members, man, they're precious, man. I really and truly appreciate that. And to show my appreciation, I would like to, give you a round of fanfare, man. Appreciate it. Straight up. Sage's Apprentice, shout out to you, sir. He says, Professor GG, what do you think the end game of overturning affirmative action is regarding black male development? In actuality, I mean, it's just another way or means by which to deny black male development, to be quite honest. Not that, there was already a great deal of working programs for us, but now they can use direct arguments against anything associated with helping, helping black males on an individualistic basis. They can be like, that's discriminatory or some shit. I want to shout out Adam. He says, Dr. GG, please, he didn't say doctor, but he says, GG, do a collab with Osei Frimpong on the topic of political tactics of white women one day. Look, I wouldn't mind doing that. I really like Arami's work. I don't know if he'd be willing to do it, though, because of the vulgar nature of my content, and I don't want to kind of sully or tarnish his reputation with some of the things I say, but I do watch his content from time to time, and I appreciate his contributions. So, if he's open to it, I'd be open to it, but I don't want to. I know how controversial and how profane I can be, and so I don't want to sully or tarnish anything he's got going on with my foolishness. Shout out to 7 Ann, making me want to download the dictionary again, and Katunde Bowen, everybody who contributed. And also, I want to shout out the people who hit me up on the Cash App, all three of them, Ashton Mulkey, LaKenzie Kendall, and Elvis Lloyd. I appreciate the donations, man. Thank you so much. And enjoy your Friday. Have some fun. Stay safe. Stay cool. And I will holler at you tomorrow, man. I'm doing a short bus Saturday, so I'll be there with Keep It 100 tomorrow, man. We're going to go ahead and do the short bus. So I'll holler at y'all, man. Until the next time, man. Keep it moving. Peace.